What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me. Now, I know I made a previous video that y'all definitely should check out about this topic revolving around Carmelo, but that was more so talking about his career overall. In general, just looking at his legacy heading into retirement, the underappreciated superstar. But in this video, I wanted to take a look at something that I found interesting recently on the All the Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. They had Pistons legend Rip Hamilton on the show, and he gave his thoughts about how he think things would have went down and how they could have won 3 championships if the Pistons would have drafted Melo at number 2 overall in the 2023 draft instead of Serbian big man Darko Millicic. And this is still hitting with Melo today. He said on the same podcast a couple years ago that it still resonates with him even to this day.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
Detroit skipped over you, took Darko. Do you ever think, because that was a good Detroit team, obviously they went on and won championships. Do you ever think of that, like, damn,
changed the course of my career, man.
Right?
Insert him, take away Tayshaun.
It was, I'm gonna tell you what, man, like to this day, I still think about that.
Really?
Yeah, hell yeah. Cause I'm like, they promised me. You know what I'm saying? Yo, we taking you. We taking you.
Did they?
I'm talking all the way up to draft day. You understand? We taking you. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to Detroit. I get Chauncey there.
Rip.
Johnny John, Rip, all these guys is there. She came in the middle of the year. I mean, she got traded.
Oh, that's right.
And that's what really put them over the top. But they was like, yo, you gonna share time with Tayshaun? I'm like, cool. Like, I ain't, I'm gonna come and do my thing, but I don't know how long I'm gonna share time with him. You know what I'm saying? I'm just come in and do my thing. And then they won it. And I'm like, oh, my luck. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm there, I think they win another one.
I think so too.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't jump out there and say we 3-peat football. I think we go back to back if I'm there. Because that second year for me, I would have learned from those guys. They was all vets, and I would have learned from those guys in the way that second year coming back, I'd have been a totally different player coming back.
But this part, I want to dive in a little bit more into the years after that championship, where they made it back, could have been a 2-peat, losing Game 7 to the Spurs. The next year, they faced Dwayne Wade and Shaq, a young, hungry Dwayne Wade, and Shaq, who was still a dominant player at the time at the center position. Then they go on and lose to a young King James the next year. One of his greatest performances up to that date, legendary, King James in the making.
Ben Wallace said he just doesn't know if that would have worked. Tayshaun was there. He would have wanted, Melo would have wanted to play more, sooner. What do you think would have happened if you guys would have actually drafted Melo?
Man, first of all, I think that I would have played at least 20 years in the NBA if we did draft Melo. I do. I don't know what Ben was talking about. I really don't. I love Body to death, but I don't know what the hell he was talking about when he said that. But if Carmelo Anthony comes to Detroit, man, listen. Problem. Melo was a once-in-a-generational type talent.
People sleep, man.
Straight up. I tell people, if Carmelo comes to us, me and Chauncey talk about it. Would the narrative been different with LeBron James?
Man, talk to him. Because he's winning possibly more championships than Bron at the time, than D Wade at the time, and that's been the only knock. He had y'all team around him.
Just think about it, Matt. I don't think that Cleveland team beats us.
No,
with Carmelo Anthony.
Hell nah. I agree. I don't think so
come
either.
On.
I don't think nobody beats y'all.
I think the narrative would have been different on Carmelo Anthony.
I absolutely believe they get 3 championships. I agree with what Rip said, man. It makes a lot of sense. Honestly, giving those guys a number 1 option, could have came off the bench to start off, but giving those guys a number 1 option to come in, y'all remember rookie Melo? And the year after, like, obviously I'm not saying the numbers would have been the same or like the stats would have, I'm not saying that he would have done the same thing. He'd have been a different player, good or bad. He would have been a better, more committed defender. I'll tell you that. But them having young Melo, especially in those latter years where they were playing big minutes, and it just wore Rip and wore Chauncey down.
I think the narrative would have been totally different on his career because the thing we'll be talking about is, okay, all right, Carmelo Anthony now has 3 championships already, right? Now Melo's thinking about, you know what, can he do this by himself? You know, so that would have been the question mark then. You know, going into that next negotiation for his contract. Like, okay, I got 3 already. You know what? Now maybe I want to venture out and see if I can do it on my own. That would have been the narrative on Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony would have been a champion. So, man, if, like I said, if he would have been playing on our team, me and Brooks would have played for 20 years. And now, you know, we wouldn't have to carry the load. Like, I wouldn't have to, you know, play 40 minutes a game. Now, you know, when we're 30-something years old, it's like, Melo, carry us.
Like, Melo could have been the one carrying him, like he said, but we all know what happened. They grabbed Darko Millicic. He's with the team like 2.5 years, never really plays a role, gets a free ring. They get him up out of there. He's out of the league by 2012, 9 years later. Missed opportunity, and then I'm not gonna go too deep into the Melo situation. Like I did that in the last video I was telling y'all about. Go check that out. Melo, underappreciated superstar, and I go really in depth into it. So we're not gonna do that here, but I will say, obviously Melo his pedigree would be a lot different. He might have not had that time with New York. He might have not had to go to Portland. Might have not had to go to LA. Like it would have been totally different. It would have been more so Melo the champion. Who does he want to help win next? You know, he would be in those same conversations with LeBron James as one of the greatest of all time. Because I do agree that he is once in a generation, but he does not have the accolades that those top 10 guys have. And that's just the proof. I mean, that's just facts right there. He doesn't. So, anyways, it's just one of the biggest enigmas out there, man, how that they fumbled this bag so bad. And just hearing it from Rip Hamilton's perspective, how they adjusted to that Pistons culture and how they would have embraced Melo, man. Like, gosh, could you imagine having him at the 3 or the 2, you know, to carry them guys later in their career? Absolutely think they beat the Heat. I think they beat the Spurs. I think they beat the Cavs. Cleveland don't beat them twice with Melo. And that's coming from a Cavs supporter. They don't beat them Pistons with Melo, man. That team would have been better than the Bad Boys Pistons, straight up. Hey, hit me in the comments if y'all feel some type of way. But in my opinion, that team would have been better than the Bad Boys Pistons. They could have 3-peated. They had a very real chance. They would have 2-peated. One missed rotation. They would have 2-peated. They would have got back. They would have went back to back. But you know, that's neither here nor there. But I thought that was just really interesting to hear from Rip Hamilton's side of things, since he was actually in the locker room, played a huge role, and knows, you know, the mentality that those Pistons teams had and how they were looking at Melo. I mean, come on, you making promises to this man. But anyways, that's a wrap for us, man. Y'all holler at your boy for all the latest and the greatest. And make sure to hit that subscribe button. I appreciate y'all tuning in and subscribing. For everybody, if this is your first time, welcome to the family. Appreciate y'all locking in with me. This is Live with Brandon Blakeney. I am Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. And that's a wrap for us. Until next time, we out.